All right, y'all, welcome back. We at class number 9, and today we're going to be using healing light to heal the chakras, right? So we're going to go through the chakras, briefly talk about each chakra, how they work, and some of the ailments that can be associated with them, and then using the information that we learned in the last class and channeling that healing light that we activated last week, we're going to use that healing light to heal each chakra. Now, will you be able to completely heal a chakra all in one day? Probably not, but this will be like the introduction of doing it so that you can take this information and then use it on your own time to go through your chakras and be able to heal them when they need some tuning and adjustments, some balancing, some healing, okay? So not only are we going to channel healing light, but we're also going to command that our chakras be balanced and aligned. And we're going to feel each chakra so that you can identify how they feel on you. And so that way you can be aware when that chakra is out of balance or needs some, needs some work, needs some healing. So before we get started, at this time, I would say command to ground, okay? We're gonna ground just like we've done in the previous videos, allowing yourself to connect to the earth, allowing the light to come in through the top of your crown, top of your head, all the way down through the bottom of your feet. So at this time, I command myself to ground, Ashe, and then we feel the grounding as it happens. You may feel a downward motion of energy going from the top all the way down. You may start to feel your body center and calm. You may even feel some tension released from your body. Okay? Then, of course, just like when we're doing any type of energy work, the mind plays a huge role. So we want to call protection on our mind at this time. I call protection on my mind, Ashe, and then I sit. I feel the protection. At this time, we're going to call to clear and quiet our mind. Now, by this time, again, we can start mixing, doing some of the stages, together, okay? So instead of clearing and quieting separately, we can clear and quiet all at the same time, okay? So at this time, I command my mind be cleared and quieted. Clear anything that I don't need from my mind that doesn't pertain to this class. Quiet my mind from anything outside of this class. Ashe. So as you notice, I said quiet my mind from anything outside this class, right? You can use that same thing when you are dealing with things in your personal life and your workforce to quiet your mind from anything outside of what you are focused on at the moment. If you're making jewelry, command to quiet your mind from anything outside of making jewelry so you can focus on making jewelry. Just an example, okay? And then we want to command that our mind be connected to the vortex of light. The vortex of light, Ashe. Because again, we want our mind to have high vibrations, to be protected, and to ward away any bad spirits with that vortex of light. And we want to make sure that our mind is ready to focus on our chakras when we start working on them. So we want our mind to be high vibrational. Okay. If everybody feeling good, give me a thumbs up and we'll keep going. Okay. Good stuff. All right, I see the thumbs. Good. All right. So I'm going to be doing a little bit different today. I'm going to actually be sharing photos during the class to show what I'm teaching, okay? This is going to be different than what I'm typically doing when I do class, but I think the visual will help for today. So the first photo I'm going to share is going to be where the 7 main chakras are placed. Now, chakras is a Sanskrit word that means wheel or circle. Wheel like a tire on a car, a wheel. Okay, I'm a little country, so I got to make sure I explain when I say wheel. I'm talking about like a wheel, like on a bike, that kind of wheel. Okay, or it can mean like circle. So when we talk about these chakras and their placements, think of them as like a spiraling circle wheel of energy moving in those particular locations. I also like to look at chakras as these energy centers that filter energy. So, in other words, the root chakra, which is the red that you see on the screen at this time at the bottom, faces downward. And so it filters energy into the earth. So when we ground, because it faces downward, the root chakra helps us ground. It filters that energy that's going on in the rest of your body through the root chakra into the earth, right? When we ground. Um, and then when we think about the top of the head, the crown, the purple that you see on top of the head, it faces upward. So it filters energies from within up to the divine. So then we can receive messages back from the divine. So it filters energy going upwards, and the root chakra at the bottom, the red, filters energy going downwards. Now the rest of the energy centers you see here, they face, front to back. Okay, front to back. So I like to again look at them like a filter or a fan because they spin. So just like a fan will pull air from the backside of the fan and then blow air out the front, chakras pretty much do the same thing. Pulls energy through the back and filters it and pushes it out in the front. So when we receive energy from others, typically we receive it on the back. And then when we send energy to others, we typically send it from the front. Okay. So again, those chakras, it filters those energies. And sometimes these filters, these energy centers can get a little sluggish, they can be off balance, they can even sometimes get blocked to where they're not moving, okay, or they're moving very slowly. So this is where the healing comes in, the balancing and aligning comes in at, okay? So the root chakra is going to be at the base of the spine, and it's the color red. And then our next chakra is right above. It's going to be the sacral chakra. It's going to be pretty much in the pelvis womb area. Okay. The solar plexus, the yellow, is going to be right above. And it's going to be pretty much around the navel or above the navel, like right there. Okay. The heart chakra is green. And the heart chakra usually sits pretty much where the sternum is. This is like the breastbone. Okay, the throat chakra sits, and it's like a light blue, and it sits at the throat itself. Third eye chakra sits between the eyebrows, and it's a indigo blue, a dark blue, indigo blue. Sits between the eyebrows, and then our crown chakra sits on top of the head. Okay, connection to the divine. All right, so let's stop sharing here, and then we're gonna go and now share about the root chakra. Okay, we're gonna share about the root chakra. Now, one of the things in my practice, right, I have seen it different in other practices, but for me, the way I was taught by my spirit guides was to heal the chakras from the root up. When you think of the word root, it's the base of the problem, right? So to me, it only made sense to always heal from the root going upwards. I also have found in my practice that when you heal from the root first, it can actually heal other chakras above it because those other chakras could be affected by something that's happening in the root chakra. So if you have something going on in your heart center, but the root of the heart center problem is coming from the root chakra, heal the root chakra first, and it may automatically stabilize the heart center where the symptom may be coming from or may be showing. So I've always healed from the bottom up. Even though in classes I have seen, most people teach that you start at the crown and work your way down. I always start at the root and work my way up. Fun fact, even with massage therapists, I have also said, if you are a massage therapist, for example, who do healing work. You may even want to massage your clients that way. Maybe start at the feet and then massage up, because now you're healing their root chakra as you massage their feet and legs, and then you can heal each chakra as you massage with the same method that you're going to learn today. So just want to throw that out there for any therapists out there who may want to use those techniques in your massage practice. Okay, so let's talk about the root chakra. So the root chakra is in the base of the spine. And these are some of the ailments that can be associated with the root chakra when it's off balance or blocked. Okay. So on the physical side, you may have issues with the legs, knees, feet, hips. Okay. Sciatica issues, digestive, prostate for the men, eating disorders, immune system problems. Okay. For the mind, the mental, it can deal with depression. Now, this is the thing, right? When we were doing a class on the inner self and we were feeling where certain emotions sit in the body, you may notice that an emotion may be felt in a place that's different from the actual chakra, right? Meaning, if you ask your higher self or your inner self to let you feel where depression sits in the body, you may feel it in the head space, in the back of the head, mostly, even though it's a root chakra problem that deals with the legs and feet. So that goes back to saying, even though the problem is in the root chakra, another chakra can be affected by it above it. So instead of trying to heal the crown first, that may deal with the mind, heal the root chakra that deals with depression, and it'll actually heal what's going on in the crown chakra. So I'm trying to help connect the dots with that. Why I feel like you should start at the bottom and work your way up. Okay, so anxiety also is something that's usually felt in the chest or the head, but it is a root chakra issue. Low self-esteem can typically come from childhood, so it's an inner child issue, root chakra. Feeling of not belonging, jealousy, codependency, indecisiveness, phobias, addictions. And then when it says quality of life, this talks about basically how this can be projected into your life with these other issues, right? So quality of life problems, financial stability, hunger, shelter, strain on relationships. So the root chakra is going to pretty much deal with foundation. Anything dealing with the foundation, whether it's religion, school, spirituality, childhood, upbringing, parent-child relationships, anything dealing with stability and foundation is going to deal with the root chakra. Even the ego can be associated with the root chakra as well. Okay? So we're going to take the picture off. And now what I want you to do at this time is we're going to do a practical exercise with each chakra, starting with the root, where I want you to ask your physical body or your higher self to allow you to feel your root chakra at this time, or just simply say it. At this time, I want to feel my root chakra. And then I want you to just sit quiet and feel in your body where your root chakra is located and what it feels like. So at this time, I want to feel my root chakra. And in feeling your root chakra, you may feel like a tingling sensation or some type of sensation in the legs and feet showing you where your root chakra is located in your body. So that way you don't have any, like you just know, like this is where it is. This is my root chakra. Okay, if you feel your root chakra, give me a thumbs up. Okay. Okay, good. Okay. Are people feeling it? Good. Good stuff. So now, last week, we talked about channeling healing light. So when healing your root chakra, okay, or in any other chakra, we're going to use the same method. One, you're going to command your root chakra to be balanced and aligned, okay? Your root chakra, each chakra should pretty much make a perfect circle. So when it's off balance, the circle may be like an oval shape, or it just might be off. It may not be a good circle. So think of your root chakra and any of your chakras when you're balancing them, that the circle is becoming like a perfect circle, okay? And then aligning, meaning like think of the chakra if it's tilted or off-centered. You want to align it back like it's supposed to be. So remember, root chakra faces downward. So think of a cone facing down, okay? Root chakra faces downward. So in your mind's eye, you want to make sure you picture your root chakra facing down and align, with the earth, okay? So take your hands. Also, we're going to channel healing light. We're going to imagine using our mind and our words, if you need to, that your hands be glowing, filled with healing light, okay? And you're going to wait until you feel that you're ready. Feel your hands, feel the healing light in your hands, just like we did last week. And if you've been practicing it, you'll notice that you'll feel it faster and faster. It's ready to go, okay? And when you send healing light into the root chakra, again, the legs. So a lot of times when I do root chakra healing, I put my hand right on top of the thighs, or I might put it on the side of the thighs, or I'll put my hand on top of the knees, okay? Just long as it's in that area of that chakra. So using your mind's eye and your intentions, you're gonna place your hand on your legs, wherever you feel comfortable, and imagine using your mind, sending healing light into your root chakra. And then you can use your words to back it up, right? At this time, I send healing light into my root chakra, Ashe. And then feel the healing light go into your root chakra. When the healing light goes into your root chakra, you may also feel that healing light go to another place in the body that's being affected by the root chakra, okay? Meaning, if you have an ailment in the root chakra that's affecting you in the heart space, you may feel healing light in your legs and in your heart space at the same time, because that's what's being affected, okay? So if you're watching the replay, you can always pause, continue doing this, and then when you're ready to go to the next, unpause and continue. Okay, hopefully you all are feeling that. If you're feeling that healing light in your root chakra, give me a thumbs up or put it in the chat. Good stuff. Ashe. Good stuff. I see the thumbs up. Good stuff. All right, cool. So that's the root chakra, okay? Again, the root chakra deals with stability, foundation, foundational issues, money, anything dealing with foundation, that's the root chakra. Childhood, root chakra, okay? All right, so now we're going to go to the next one, which is going to be the sacral chakra. Filter, photos. All right. Boom, here we go. Now we're at the sacral chakra, color orange. The sacral chakra, again, sits at the pelvis womb area, okay? Sacral chakra deals with sensuality, sexuality. It also deals with creativity. This is where creativity starts, okay? And it also deals with a lot of emotions, a lot of emotional stability. Usually, if your sacral chakra is off, your emotions will be unstable as well. Or it can just be a sign of your emotions being unstable because your sacral chakra is off, okay? So in the physical, menstrual problems, okay, that's sacral chakra issues. Now, what I have found in my practice is that, especially when it comes to women with menstrual issues, um, is that a lot of times it can be associated with sexual assault in any type of form. It can be associated with miscarriages and any other type of birthing issues. That those things can affect menstrual issues. Another thing I have found is that sometimes there's a curse on the womb itself, and then after cleansing the curse off the womb itself, it fixed the menstrual issues. So I have noticed that as well. Same thing with, even though it's not listed here, but the same thing with like endometriosis, and any kind of ailments like that. I have noticed the same thing. These issues can affect the womb area that way. Okay, urinary problems. Even though the sacral chakra is down in the pelvis area, it does affect the kidneys because the kidneys is a part of the urinary tract. Okay, so, so urinary problems, infertility, gyno, that word, you know what I'm saying? You know, the gyno, women's stuff. I'm not gonna play with y'all. The gyno stuff, lower back pain, okay, spleen issues, kidney issues, and gallbladder issues. All right, mental problems, unbalanced emotions. Oh yeah, I just said that too. Unbalanced emotions, okay? So when your emotions unbalanced, focus on your sacral chakra. Okay, guilt is held in the sacral. Codependency, creative blocks. Creativity starts in the sacral chakra, okay? It also is in the third eye chakra, which you'll learn later, but it starts in the sacral. Apathy, detachment, overly sensitive, emotional outbursts, overeating, and manipulative. So we're all adults here. You ever heard a joke where people say, well, when people they need to get some to calm their emotions down? That's kind of where this joke kind of comes from. Because the sacral chakra is where our reproductive system is. When your emotions are out of balance, that's why sometimes people use, sex as a means to regulate their emotions. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. That's not my opinion. I have no opinion on that. I'm saying this is what I feel like why some people do it. Okay, because that is the area where emotions has to be balanced. So just make sure you be responsible in that if you do it. Okay. Quality of life problems, unhealthy intimate relationships. Again, this can be coming from the root chakra, right? One chakra can feed up to the next. So if you have issues, let's say there was some sort of assault in your childhood, then in your sacral chakra, it can put you in a place where you have unhealthy intimate relationships. And then once you heal the root chakra from whatever the assault was, then you start to regulate your intimate relationships, okay, in a more healthy way. A sense of lack of purpose or lack thereof, okay? That's the sacral chakra. Boom. So, because this is a sacral chakra and it deals with emotions, you may find that sometimes when healing the sacral chakra, it can probably make you emotional. Not all the time, but it can. So just kind of, be aware of that and kind of be ready for that. So again, hands, healing light coming from the hands, commanding your sacral chakra be balanced and aligned. Ashe. And then place your hands on the sacral chakra. So usually what I do for the sacral chakra is I place my hands pretty much right where they're growing, or I place them like right under the belly button. That's a good place to place them, right under the belly button or right on where the hip flexors are, okay? I place them there, right under the belly button. And again, using my words and my mind, I command my sacral chakra be filled with healing light, balanced and aligned. Ashe. And then I feel that healing light go in there. You may feel it in your spine, in your lower back. If you're having lower back problems and sciatica problems, I definitely recommend that you do this often so that you can help that, relieve that. Okay, hopefully you all are feeling that. All right, let's go on to the next. So we're going to be going now into the solar plexus. The solar plexus. My root chakra is still tingling. It is still tingling right now from sending that healing light. Love it. All right, y'all. Going to the solar plexus. All right. Solar plexus is located again. It's going to be right pretty much with a belly button or a little bit above it. It's going to be the solar plexus. It's going to deal with the stomach. You will notice that the lower three chakras, the root, sacral, and the solar plexus chakra, all deal with the digestive system. They all play a role in it. Okay. Solar plexus is going to deal with the stomach itself. This is where your esteem comes from, your courage, your bravery. This is also where your core, like your personal power, comes from. Your personal power comes from your solar plexus, your gut. This is your gut chakra. This is your core. You know what I mean? This is where your strength comes from. So when you're feeling like bloated and you're feeling off in your stomach, it can make you feel kind of like down because your power is being suppressed. Okay. Um, Solar plexus, yellow, joy, bliss, happiness, right? Um, Issues in the physical, low metabolism. We notice when we start to our metabolism slow down, the first place we start to gain is in the gut, in the stomach. Poor digestion, okay? Well, but remember, foods also play a role in that. So if you're eating bad, you can be messing up your solar plexus because of that too, okay? Blood sugar problems because the pancreas is in the solar plexus. Fatigue, again, personal power. Liver problems, ulcers. So what I have found, especially like people who are angry all the time, they tend to have ulcers because it's in the solar plexus. And you will see in the mental problems, anger is listed there. So when you're angry all the time, you'll notice a connection between somebody who's angry and ulcers. And you'll notice in all these chakras, a lot of the mental issues or mental problems associated with them can affect the physical body unless it was a physical issue. Meaning, like, if I got punched in the stomach, that's a physical issue. If I'm angry all the time, then my stomach hurts. That's a mental issue affecting my stomach. Okay. So, mental problems, low self esteem, low confidence, no sense of purpose, decision making problems, anger, unmotivated, addiction, because that deals with willpower, the solar plexus, the willpower, depression or apathy, and insecurities. Okay. Because confidence, right? Quality of life problems can be feeling like stuck at a job, unable to imagine a better future for yourself. So this is like a pessimistic lifestyle, meaning everything in life, you kind of look at it like nothing's going to get better. Everything is just going to be this way the rest of my life. Um, when you turn that around, it gives you the ability to say, no, things can turn around. Okay, abundance problems, feeling as if you don't have everything you want. Okay, so one of the ways to help that is having gratitude for what you have versus focusing on what you don't have. Okay, that's the solar plexus. Now, when you're working on these lower chakras, okay, um, when you're working on these lower chakras, you may realize that you might have some movements in your gut and your digestive system, meaning you might start passing gas, you may start burping, you may feel like a churning sensation because the chakra is moving. You may even, like I said, you might just feel it as it's happening. And you might even have to go do number 2 or number 1, when you mess with these chakras because the physical bodies are associated with it as well. Now, I seen a question in the comments that asks, am I visualizing the colors for each chakra when I do it? I have done it both ways, right? Sometimes I've used just the colors associated with that chakra, and then most times I use just white, like a white light. That's how I see healing light is white. I use that. The reason why I use white, because what I have noticed in my meditations is that when I use that white light for healing light, when it goes into the chakra, it's going to change into the color that's needed automatically, right? When I have done in-person sessions, I do the same thing. I put my hands on each chakra, I send white healing light into each chakra, but the client has reported that they seen the colors of the chakra when I was doing it, even though my mind didn't send the color. So I send white light and I let it adjust how it's needed for them and for yourself. But either way works. Either way works. I say try both ways. and see if you see a difference. Good question though. Thank you. Okay. Now we're gonna heal the solar plexus, right? Healing hands, healing light in the hands. I like to place my hands right over the belly button or right above it. Sometimes I'll place one hand below, one hand above. Sometimes I'll place one on top of the other. There is no wrong or right way to do it, just however you feel comfortable doing it, okay? Take my hands, place them on the solar plexus, and I command my solar plexus to be balanced and aligned and filled with healing light. Ashe. And then I feel it. So as my solar plexus is being filled with healing light, I feel it, of course, going all the way to my back, to my spine, but I also feel it clearing in my head. So that means whatever's going on in my solar plexus is also affecting my headspace, right? It's clearing. Boom. And again, you do this as long as you need to, meaning there is no time limit on doing this. So you can put your hands there for 5 minutes or 1 minute. Whatever your intuition tells you to do, that's what you do. There is no right or wrong way to do it, okay? You may only want to do one chakra that day, and that's okay. You don't have to do them all at once. Okay, when do you use white light versus your personal healing light? So, my personal healing light is white light because that's the way it comes to me in my dreams, right? When I've dreamed about this on how to do it, that's how it came to me. So always go with your personal. Okay, go with your personal. Whatever your personal is, that means that's what's going to work for you. Okay, for me, it comes to me as a bright white light, and then in those dreams, it was showing me using my hands to send that light. Okay, if your personal light is a different color or a different way, always go with your personal light because that's the way God made it for you. That's the best way I think I can describe it. God made it for you the way that you were going to be able to use it for the highest good. Okay? So go with your personal. All right, y'all. We are doing good, y'all. We're going to go ahead and move on to the heart chakra. The heart chakra. The heart chakra is the balance of everything, the balance between the upper and lower, the balance between masculine and feminine, the yin and yang. It is the center of your entire system, okay? Your entire spiritual system is your heart chakra, okay? The heart chakra is associated with the color green, and some people also associate the color pink with the heart chakra as well. Okay, the heart chakra is located again at the sternum, at the breastbone, okay? Um, and it pretty much deals with the heart. That's pretty much the main organ that it deals with, as the heart, and then everything that comes with that, right? Circulation, respiratory, or not respiratory, well, respiratory too, but circulation mostly, veins, arteries, anything associated with the heart, pretty much is the heart chakra physically. Okay, but the heart chakra also deals with love, unconditional love, love for God, love of self, love for others, just anything associated with love, love that, of your passions, you love to do certain things, anything dealing with love. Okay, some of the physical ailments in the heart chakra can deal with chest pain, poor circulation, blood pressure issues, and respiratory issues. In the mind, it can be issues with grief. So when people are grieving, you typically hear people say, my heart is hurting, right? My heart is hurting for whatever that situation is. And then that can affect the heart chakra. Okay, jealousy, hatred. So hatred is in the heart chakra. Usually when I meet people with a heavy heart, sometimes it could be grief. It could be, usually it's either grief or hate. or some sort of darkness, right, in the heart. Usually when I'm helping people heal the heart chakra. And darkness can be looked at as grief too, because grief can, harm the heart chakra because of the type of energy it is. So if you cleanse darkness out of your heart, it usually will solve all of these other problems that's in it. Okay, grief, jealousy, hatred, despair, greed, manipulative, judgmental, overcritical. These are mental problems associated with the heart chakra. Quality of life problems can be poor relationships, poor self-love, and poor decision making. Okay. So heart chakra. The heart chakra is very crucial. Sometimes you can send healing light to the heart chakra, and you will notice that when you send light or healing light to the heart chakra, it will actually, because it's a center, it will actually go everywhere throughout the whole body. One of the ways, and I think I might have talked about this last class, is that because the heart pumps blood throughout the body, when you send light or healing light to the heart, it enters the heart and then it pumps the healing light throughout the entire physical body. So a lot of times I don't have to work on each chakra. Sometimes I just work on just the heart. I just send light to the heart, and then I'll let the heart send light everywhere else throughout my body where it's needed. Okay. So there's even cases where I've done work with other people and I focus on the heart chakra first before doing the other chakras. It just all depending on what spiritual guidance is, right? And then sometimes they don't need anything else but that. You may meet a person who's grieving, and instead of healing all of their chakras, just send them light and healing light to the heart. And it'll heal not only the grief that might be going on here, but it may also help them heal the other symptoms in the other chakras that's being affected by the grief. So the heart chakra, spend a lot of time working on your heart chakra when you feel it, spend a lot of time there. Before you do any of your spiritual work, like if you're going to meditate, for example, it's good to place light into your heart before you meditate. Because again, light is going to spread it all the way around. Okay. All right. So the heart chakra, using them hands, using those words, the mind, we're going to command that the heart chakra be balanced and aligned and filled with light, Ashe. Command that your heart chakra be balanced, aligned, and filled with healing light, Ashe. And again, when it comes in, you may feel that light come in and then spread throughout the rest of your body. Yep. So instantly I felt it go down to the solar plexus and work its way down. And then I felt it go up all the way up to the top of my head. So I love about the heart chakra, it's the center. So it spreads that love, right? So just like you spread light, spread love the same way, right? So when you need to feel love, do the same thing. You need to feel love, place your hands over your heart, over your heart chakra, and command that your heart chakra be filled with love, right? You can say love, God's love, the divine's love, the love of your ancestors, whatever it is that you feel that you need to feel yourself with at that time. Fill yourself with love, right? Fill yourself with love first, so that one, that you can feel what it feels like. So when you feel it for yourself, you can have the capacity to then give it to others. Okay? The heart chakra. All right, y'all. Moving on to the throat chakra. Moving on to the throat chakra. The throat chakra is located here at the throat, okay? And it is associated with confidence. It's associated with self-acceptance, most importantly, because it deals with how we speak, right? Not only how we speak to others, but how we speak to ourselves. So self-acceptance. We talked about after class one day how you can look in the mirror and you can speak kind words to yourself to raise your vibrations and manifest and things like that. Saying good prayers, good words. The throat chakra is key because that's where the words come from. So when we talk about the throat chakra, a lot of times some of the ailments in the throat chakra will also come from the root chakra because it may deal with your childhood. So for example, let's say you're one of those people who have trouble speaking your own truth. Because that's typically what the throat chakra is about. It's about speaking the truth, speaking one's truth, right? That fear of speaking truth could come from your childhood, where when you tried to speak your truth, maybe you were suppressed. Or let's say maybe something happened to you and the perpetrator, the abuser, threatened you if you ever told anybody, something's going to happen. So now, as an adult, your throat chakra still may be affected and blocked, and you don't say things that you need to because of that energy from childhood that's still affecting your adulthood. So those are typical things that I see when I'm doing healing on the throat chakra for others, is childhood issues affecting them in their adulthood. Okay. Physical problems: sore throat, laryngitis, swollen glands, thyroid problems, voice problems, gum or tooth issues. So the mouth, again, because you speak, represents the throat. You would also notice that the lungs also are a part of the throat chakra as well. Especially when you do healing into the throat chakra, you'll notice you may feel it in your lungs as well and your respiratory system. Even though it's said for the heart chakra, you'll definitely feel it for the throat chakra. Okay, mental problems, addiction, quiet, problems with decision making, no authority. That means like not speaking. Not only are you not speaking with authority, you're not moving in authority, in your day-to-day operations. Dishonest tendencies, confused about self. Remember, this deals with self-acceptance. Problems expressing oneself, trouble finding the words. So anything dealing with your speech, right, it's going to be throat chakra. But remember, the throat chakra may be affected, but the root of the problem could be from the root chakra itself. Quality of life being taken advantage of. Hard to say no. If you don't say no, people are going to just run all over you, right? Not expressing or not progressing in life, work, or relationships. So when I read that, right, to me, that talks about basically if you're not speaking up and being assertive and having authority, then people won't want to promote you at work because you don't show leadership qualities. You're not speaking up. Relationships can be the same thing. You may get ran over a little bit because you're not speaking up. You're not setting boundaries, or maybe you're setting boundaries, but you're not speaking them. Unable to get what you want. Closed mouths don't get fed. That's a saying that we've all probably heard growing up. If you don't ask, you don't get. Even God said the same thing. You gotta ask. If you ask, I'll give it to you. You just gotta ask, right? Sometimes we don't receive our blessings because we don't ask for it. So prayer is very important when we're talking about the throat chakra. Exercise your throat chakra for good words, good prayers, good mantras. Ashe? All right. So again, the throat chakra, right? Now, if you're doing this on somebody else, don't put your hands around their neck. They might be a little uncomfortable. Okay? They might be a little uncomfortable. Now, you want to choke yourself? No, just kidding. You want to put it around your own neck, you can do that. But the throat chakra, again, even though the center of the throat chakra is kind of like here, it may be comfortable to put your hands like right below it. Okay. So if you're doing this on someone else, make sure you don't put it here, especially it could trigger, something from the past. If that was an issue, you just don't want to do that. Put your hands right below and you're still on the throat chakra. So usually for me, I just put my hands here. And again, I command my throat chakra to be balanced and aligned and filled with healing light, Ashe. So again, you may feel it in the throat, but you also may feel it in other chakras that may be affected. Mm-hmm. Got the little clearing going on there. Okay, good stuff. And I feel a little clearing going on in the head. Good, good, good. I like to feel it when it's working because it tells me that it's working. It lets me know it's just working. But if you don't feel it, it doesn't mean it's not working. It still could be working. Sometimes people have a delayed reaction to energy healing, right? I've done work on people where I've done the work and they don't feel anything. And then like 10 minutes later, like, oh, I feel it now, and then they start to feel it. So sometimes it's a delayed reaction, and that's okay. So I want to go back to about hand placements. So I was talking about being careful not putting it around the neck because that can be uncomfortable for somebody, right? Same thing when it comes to other sensitive areas of the body. Okay. We're gonna get into this, of course, a lot more when we get into doing Reiki and stuff. But when you're doing a sacral chakra, for example, right? I'm a male. So when I'm doing uh in-person healing, especially on a woman, I tend to place my hands above the special area to make sure that you don't disrespect that area. And then sometimes my intuition may tell me not to even put my hand there, and I may just place my hands above, right? Meaning I'm not touching at all. My hands are above, and that energy is then coming down from the hands into the chakra, okay? So being mindful. Or sometimes what I'll do, I'll place my hands on the sides, like on the hips, versus in the front, just to ensure that that person is comfortable, okay? Um, So even if you're a woman and doing it with another woman, still take that into consideration because some people may feel a little weird about certain hand placements. So make sure you talk to the person about hand placements before you start to see what they are comfortable with and not comfortable with. So same thing with the heart chakra. It sits here. And typically, if I'm going to work on a woman when I'm doing this, I usually place my hands above. I don't actually touch because they do have breasts. So I don't touch. I don't place my hands right above, like this, just a few inches above. And I send that energy downward that way. Some women, depending on, and I say this respectfully, how apart um, they may fall, depending on the person. I may can place my hands, straight up and down like that in the center, and I'm not really touching anything, so it's safe, right? Again, but I've already discussed that prior to, okay? But typically I just don't. Typically I just hover above. And then again on the neck, you don't want to put it on the neck right below, it's fine. Okay, that's the throat chakra. All right, now we're gonna go into the third eye chakra. The third eye chakra, this is the one that everybody talks about. Everybody talks about, I wanna open my third eye. I wanna open my third eye. Now you'll notice that we went through 5 other chakras before we even got to the third eye, because the third eye is the 6th chakra. So I always recommend when I hear people come to me or say they wanna open their third eye is let's start with the ones at the bottom. Let's work our way from the root up because when that third eye open, this is your vision. This is your vision from the divine. This is your imagination, your dreams, all of that. Once that opens, you may see things that you may not want to see. Meaning, you may be seeing things from your past. You may be seeing certain spirits if you have a clairvoyance about you that you can see spirits. And if you're not centered and grounded and healed in certain areas of your life, and you open that up, that can make you kind of lose it a little bit, right? And it's not to fearmonger or scare anybody, but the responsible thing for me to say is to make sure that you do some inner healing before trying to work on your third eye and just open it wide open. Okay, it may leave you mentally and spiritually vulnerable. So you got to deal with what's going on in the lower chakras before focusing on third eye. So that's always my recommendation when people come to me and say, hey, help me open my third eye. Let's see what's going on in the other chakras first. Okay, let's work on the childhood. Let's work on these other things. Because when that third eye opens, it's going to expose everything, and you got to be ready for that. So dreams, imaginations, thoughts, this is where God talks to you, right? In the third eye, in the mind, okay? When the eye is single, you will be filled with light, okay? Third eye, between the eyebrows. So let's go to the ailments associated with the third eye. Here we go. Third eye. The third eye is associated with indigo blue color. Okay. Physical problems, headaches, vision problems, so the eyes itself, the physical eyes. Insomnia, trouble sleeping because your thoughts are racing. And you probably got all kind of thoughts and visions going through your mind. Sinus issues, stress, hearing problems, nausea, dizziness, and ear problems. The nausea typically comes from like vertigo kind of thing. You know, you're feeling dizzy, you're feeling off center. Okay, and the mental problems, poor decision making, because if your mind, you know, if you can't imagine and use your mind to see, that can make it hard for you to make a decision on things. Anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, self-doubt, memory issues, learning problems, mental fog, hallucinations, paranoia, delusions. Okay, those are the mental issues associated with the third eye. So when you look at these mental issues, most of these things are going to be associated with something from the root and even maybe even the sacral and solar plexus. For example, poor decision making can come from the root chakra, anxiety, root chakra, feeling overwhelmed, solar plexus, self-doubt, solar plexus, memory issues, root chakra, right? Things that you've been through. And remember, memory holds energy. So if you're holding on to bad memories, you're holding on to bad energies, and that can affect your dreams, which you can have bad dreams. Okay. Learning problems, mental fog, your mind is too cluttered, you got to quiet it. Hallucinations, paranoia, scared of everything, and delusions. Things that aren't real, but you're making it real. Okay. Quality of life problems, poor life choices, relationship struggles, and struggling through life. And you see that it says struggling through life. So the third eye is very important. And I see why everyone wants it open. Everyone wants their third eye open. However, you got to deal with the issues in your lower chakras to make sure your third eye chakra works properly. Anytime I have seen, and not every time, but most times when I've seen people focus on our third eye without doing any inner healing, it didn't turn out too good for them. Okay. I'm not trying to scare anybody, just saying, do some inner healing before you focus just on your third eye. Ashe. So, working on the third eye, again, using our hands and our words, our mind. Hand placements for the third eye can sometimes be right over the third eye itself, right? So if I'm doing this on someone else, I usually place my hands right over the third eye. If they may feel uncomfortable, I'll pay attention to the body language. I'll just hover right above the third eye. Or I'll place my hands over the ears, because that's part of the third eye too. So I'll place my hands like here for the third eye. Okay, if you're doing this on yourself, you can do here. You can do here, like right in the front, right over the eyes, because you're covering the eyes and the third eye right here. Okay, you can do it like that, however you feel, whatever you feel comfortable with. You can even do one hand in the front, one hand in the back. So one hand in the front of the third eye, one hand in the back of the third eye. Okay, you can even do it that way too. So place your hands where you want, and then you're going to command that your third eye be filled with healing light and be balanced and aligned. Ashe. When working in the third eye, and especially the crown and third eye, because it is in the head space, you may notice you may get a little dizzy as that chakra starts to align and balance. Some people have reported to me that they felt a little dizzy, and then it goes away as the chakra balances. And some people even say that they get a slight headache, and then once that energy clears, the headache goes away. Okay? So, however you want to do it, I command my third eye chakra be balanced and aligned and filled with healing light. That's right. However you want to do it. Here. So I feel a lot in the legs, which means, again, issues in the third eye usually comes from the root. So as I'm clearing the third eye and healing the third eye, it's also healing that part of the root chakra that's affecting it. It's all connected. And also feeling in the heart chakra. See? So, boom. Those are 3 places I'm feeling it. Okay? So, that's the third eye chakra. Healing light, balancing the line. Again, you may feel a little pressure as it heals, as it aligns. You might feel a little headache. You might feel a little dizzy. Okay? And because of that, when you're finished working on someone or even yourself, when you do the third eye and crown, you make sure you take some time before you stand up, because you may stand up and be off balance. So don't rush to get up. Don't rush your client to get up. Pull them up slowly. Make sure they're good. Stand them up slowly. Make sure they got balance. Then you're good. Okay. And if not, sit them back down until the chakras balance. All right. Let's talk about the crown chakra. The crown chakra is located at the top of the head. Again, like the root chakra faces down that way, the crown chakra faces up this way, okay? And the crown chakra is like your connection to God, your connection to your ancestors, your higher self, your spirit guides, guardian angels. This is your connection to the spirit world, okay? And it doesn't matter your belief system. This is top of the crown is everybody's connection there. And it's one of the most sensitive parts of our chakra system because it is that connection to the divine. Even as babies, people always say, make sure you protect that baby's crown, right? So even if we don't always know why, that's the why. This is our connection to God, your crown. So your crown is very, very important. And you don't let nobody play with it either. Meaning, your crown is sacred, very sacred. All of you are sacred, but this your connection to God, very sacred. This is why some people have an intuition, don't touch my hair, because that's a part of the crown. Don't touch my head, because that's your crown. You protect it. And you may intuitively protect it. And you may not even know why, but that's why. The crown chakra also deals with the brain. So even though it's on top of the head, it deals with the brain. And it also deals with the mind. Your crown chakra is very, very important. This is why a lot of cultures, you may notice that the men and women alike keep their head covered for that reason. Again, it may be a religious or cultural thing, but the crown chakra, it's your connection to God. Okay, so let's pull up the crown chakra. It's going to be associated with the color violet or purple. Okay, neurological problems. Again, that's the brain, the nervous system. Headaches, nerve pain, psychological disorders, Alzheimer's, insomnia. Okay, so you notice the third eye chakra and the crown chakra both deals with insomnia. So the way I like to look at the third eye chakra and the crown chakra is they work hand in hand in your connection to God and your ancestors and your spirit guides. One sends energy to them, connects you to them, the other receives. So when I pray and I say amen or ashe, I feel the energy of my prayer leave my crown chakra, meaning that energy now have went up to God and to my spirit team. And then I sit and I feel and I wait after I pray to receive the visions in my third eye about what I just prayed about. So in other words, I don't just say the prayer and walk away. I allow my crown and third eye to work simultaneously. One, to send the request, the crown chakra, third eye to receive the answer from the request that I requested. If you're somebody who prophesies or do readings or speak to others divinely, this is what's happening with your third eye and crown during those moments. You are subconsciously or consciously sending a request by asking questions. You might say, man, I wonder what's going on with you. What's going on with you? So now that you said that question, the crown chakra, boom, it goes out to the divine. And then the third eye receives an image, and you hear a voice in your head says, boom, 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 this is what's going on. And then you start speaking that message to that person. your third eye receive the message from the request that you send through your crown. So they work kind of hand in hand. Okay. Mental problems, loneliness. Loneliness can be because you may feel like may feel out of place. Like let's say you may feel like you don't belong, in other words. Inability to connect with others, feeling of being lost, confusion about one's direction. If you're not connected to the divine, it's gonna leave you confused, right? Which could lead to frustration, which leads to discontent, which leads to depression, which leads to spiritually disconnected, right? So protect your crown. Now, with the crown chakra facing up and the root chakra facing down, this is why it's important that you got to make sure you ground yourself. That's why every class we talk about being grounded since that class, because the root chakra grounds you. So, and then the crown chakra connects you to the divine. You got to have that balance between heaven and earth. Okay. You can't be so lost in heaven that you forget that you have earthly things that you have to do. And you can't be so rooted in earthly things that you forget that God still is just trying to talk to you. So you got to make sure you do both. You got to be balanced. That's why I do the root chakra and work our way up to the crown chakra. Okay. Um, Another way to look at that just came to me. It's like your root chakra can tell you about earthly problems, and your crown chakra is where you're going to learn how to fix it. Okay. Quality of life problems, poor relationships, poor life choices, self-destructive behavior. It's like when you stop being divinely guided, you start to you know, you start doing self-destructive behavior. That's what happens. So you have to realign with the divine so that you can make sure that you make the right life choices and be pointed in the right direction. Realign with the divine. Okay. Realign with the divine. All right. Crown chakra. So crown chakra is my favorite when I'm sending healing energy. Not just my favorite, but it's also the favorite of people that I typically work on in person. Because it faces upward, when you send energy through the crown chakra, it goes all the way down through the bottom of your feet, all the way through the root chakra, right? Remember, the root chakra faces down, so it grounds you. So when you send energy through the top of the crown, it just, right? Which means when somebody's touching your head, if they got bad energy, that bad energy enters your crown and then it goes all the way down, right? So that's why some people say you gotta be careful who does your hair, because their energy is going in there. Like if you got a beautician or a barber that's toxic, you probably don't want that energy going inside of your crown, because that energy is gonna filter all the way through. And then when you leave, instead of, you may look good, but you may leave not feeling good, right? I don't have them problems, I don't have them barber problems no more. So, but because I'm bald headed, people always want to rub my head. Like, no, you can't touch my head. Get them hands off, you know, unless that energy is comfortable. Okay? The energy got to feel comfortable. So things can transfer into your crown. Remember, your crown is your connection to God. So if somebody got bad energy, bad spirits, or something like that on them, and they touch, that can transfer into you, right? So guard your crown. It's not being rude or anything like that to set a boundary to not allow anyone to just touch your crown. It's okay to do, like my cats, sometimes my cat, they'll let me rub them and stuff like that. And then sometimes they'll do a Mayweather. I try to touch my cat on it, rub his head, and he'll be like, mm, 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 mm. My cat be like, mm, mm. And I'm like, well, let me go cleanse myself. Maybe my cat sees some bad energy on me because I just did a session and I need to cleanse myself off, right? So my cat don't let me touch him if my energy not right. So if you let me touch him, I know I'm good. Okay. But you got to be like that with yourself. You got to guard your crown. Don't let everybody play in your hair. Don't let everybody play in your head. Ashe? And sometimes you can also use head coverings as protection. You can anoint them if that's a word that's good to use, or you can enchant them. If that's another word that may be good to use. But anyway, you basically you can wear a head covering where you pray or speak a affirmation over it. That as you wear it, it also serves as a protection, right? And it can be discreet. It can be a regular cap, like a baseball cap, and it can like, oh, that look good with the outfit. But I've spoken that this cap is going to be used for protection of my crown while I'm out. So speak, protection over your head coverings when you want to use them for protection. I also have found that it's also good to sleep in something covering your head. So even though I'm bald headed as hell, I still usually cover my head when I sleep. I usually use like a real thin beanie or something like that and place it over my head, and then I sleep. And I noticed a huge difference when I started covering my head when I sleep because things, spirits and energy and stuff happens in your sleep too. So I usually wear something when I go to bed. So protect your crown. So the crown, again, I love the crown when I do it because you can feel it through the whole body. Okay. Um, you ever notice that intuitively, sometimes when people are going through things, the first thing they do is this. They put their hands on their crown. That's the first thing they do, put their hands on their crown. So a lot of times we do Reiki and or energy healing subconsciously without even knowing. But in this case, I like to use healing light because that's what God told me to do, use healing light. So my Reiki is healing light, okay? So take my hands. So here, if you're doing it yourself, okay, here, you one hand on top of the other, here, however you feel comfortable placing your hands. Usually when I'm doing it on the client, I usually pull up a chair on a massage table and I sit and I take my time with the crown chakra. I mean, I spend the longest chakra I usually spend is with the crown chakra because again, it goes through the whole system. So I will sit at the top of their head, make sure I feel that healing light going through my body. I see it in my mind. I feel it through my whole body. And then I send that healing light through the top of the head, through the crown, all the way down the body. Do the same thing for yourself. I like to look at it also with the crown. When you send it through the top, it can also be looked at like an energy flush, meaning like, let's say I need to do a cleanse, like a quick cleanse. In my mind, I say, okay, I'm going to ground. And as I'm ground, I send healing light or light to the crown. So I'm connected to the earth with the root and sending light with the crown at the same time. And it just flushes the energy, like removes any energy I don't need. Okay. So I command my crown chakra be balanced and aligned and filled with healing light, Ashe. And then again, you'll feel it coming in the body and it'll start working its way all the way down until you feel it through the bottom of your feet. And feel at the ankles, working its way down, working its way down. Now I'm feeling the feet. Good. Ashe. And the other thing about the crown chakra, when you send healing light, you also may feel it in other places that you need because it goes through the whole system. So when you see healing light, like you might feel it in other places, other chakras that needed a little bit more attention. So crown chakra is amazing when you're sending healing light because it goes everywhere. Kind of like the heart chakra, crown chakra kind of does the same thing, but it just goes a downward motion. Heart chakra sends it up and down. Okay, so those are the chakras, the 7 main chakras. Now there are literature and stuff that you can find where people are going to like 144 chakras and stuff like that, right? Is it necessary? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Right now, I just want you to focus on your main 7. And then when you feel like you're advanced enough to go into like a whole bunch of other chakras, you can. Now, when we get into doing Reiki style healing, okay, we are going to go into some minor chakras. Okay, so those are the 7 major, but I'm going to also share with you during that time some minor chakras that you can also add to your practice when and if you need it. Okay, so those are your 7 chakras. Remember to balance and align your chakras. Balance and align are the key intentions that you got to do for each chakra. Okay, fill your chakras with healing light or light. So sometimes you may be led to just use light. Sometimes you may be led to do healing light because it needs to heal. Sometimes you may just need light to kind of cleanse it. So use whatever personal method that comes to you to use when using healing light or light when healing your chakras, okay? We'll also get into later on in the classes on how to use certain divination tools or certain tools for your chakras. For example, we'll get into how to use pendulums to do chakra healing, especially when we get into like Reiki level 2, or maybe even Reiki level 1, but definitely Reiki level 2. We'll get into how to use certain tools to heal chakras. Yeah. So please practice this as much as you need to. Always do it on yourself first before others. I like to do it on myself before bed because once I finish with my chakras, I'm usually tired and I'm ready to go to bed. So I do mines before I sleep. That's the best time I like to do my own. Okay. So peace and blessings to y'all. I will see y'all next week in the next class. Have a good one.